Okay, one more questions for you. So, you make O12, it was the last faction.
Yeah.
So, can we expect more factions, or it will be only sectorials for these factions?
At the moment, only sectorials. In fact, it is said that we have too many armies in Infinity. It's very difficult for us to keep releasing models and products every month for so many factions. We can only release 5 products per month because it's what our retailers can support, can afford. Sorry, trying to divide 5 products per month with nine factions is very difficult. That's the reason why we are focusing in some armies every year and leaving some of them a little step behind, because it's very difficult for us to manage so many factions. So at the moment we cannot increase Infinity with more factions and focus only on sectorials.
Okay, so as I know, this year we're expecting 3 sectorials, right? It's Valheima, White Banner, and the third one is...
And another one right now I cannot tell.
So
now probably in a month or more or less it will be revealed, but I cannot tell it at the moment.
So in Code 1 box there will be miniatures from Valheima and White Banner.
Yeah.
So when will you release the sectorial?
The sectorial as a whole playable list, and also the true profiles for the models, and all the true profiles for the sectorial, of course. If not, the sectorial would be not playable. Will be released at the same time as the box we release. So as I said in the seminar, Operation Calstrom, the battle pack, will be a product for Code 1 players, new players that approach to Infinity, as a single product, offering an introductory set, but for veteran players it provides 2 new sectorials, playable since the beginning. So that's our intention. This sectorial is released as an N3 sectorial, and later when M4 will be active, they will be adapted to M4. And as I said in the seminar, I'll repeat here, that true profiles were conceived to be playable in M4, so I have to translate it back to N3 and realize that they really don't work as fine as in M4, because in M4 they have some skills that are not available in N3. So that's the reason. Maybe some players will say, hey, it's a little bit strange. The reason why is they were not conceived to be playable in N3, but any case, there are good sectorials playable perfectly as in a tournament mode. But I know how some players are who likes to compare one profile with other profile. If they find something a little bit weird, the reason why is because, after all, they have been a more interesting profile in N4.
Okay. So as you said on seminar, when N4 will be released, there are these sectorials, for example, Akacimento, Merovingia, Tocha, Kapuhalki. There are 4 armies which are disappeared, right, in N4, or they will be playable in N4.
As I said in the seminar, it's a huge 36 armies in for a game is very high, and only very big companies can manage that. We are not a very big company, so we are finding a lot of troubles, considering we have a big amount of work to release everything at the same time in 2 different languages. Not piece of cake. So we are going to focus and try to make the adding things in waves. So first a first wave, then a second wave. Of course, armies which are not in our catalog will be at the end of the queue, and the end of the line. Will be added in the future? Yeah, probably yes. But when? That's something I cannot say, because right now that is very difficult for me to be able to know when we can afford that work. Any case, as I said, N3 army list will be totally available for the players, so they can be still playing with that armies in N3 until they be released in N4.
So I will make a point. For example, Akatsumente army will still playable in N4, but they will not have so much new rules, right?
No, they will. Akatsumente army will be playable as an army in N3 because the resources for N3 will be not removed, not related, but not playable in M4 until we can add it to M4. The reason, the question is, I'm not sure when that could happen.
Okay, so when you release N4, how long will N3 exist for tournaments, for ITS?
ITS will be focused on M4. That's any case. We can understand that maybe it could be some time in which M4 and N3 can exist together. Because people have to adapt, and maybe for some tournament organizers needs more time to adapt to M4, or the players have to adapt to M4. But as ITS is organized play. We are going to keep the army and the wiki of N3 available for the players with no limit of time, not at the moment. We probably call it something like Army Legacy, for example, just to separate. So the players can still play with that armies which are not available for M4. At some moment, it's necessary we can make some charts to translate a true profile from one system to another, because changes are not so difficult. What happens? They can change the true profile to adapt, but not the cost will be the same as N3. But that will be only for casual play, not for organized play.
So yes, we lost some few armies in N4, but they will bring them back. Okay, maybe in 2018, Bostria said that it's possible for Infinity not be like skirmish, or maybe some great army versus great army, maybe like Warhammer 40k Apocalypses, or not Epic Warhammer Epic, where there are small figures. Big representing big armies. Is it possible for Infinity, or it will be only in skirmish mode?
The Infinity Universe as a concept has room for 5mm game like Epic Warhammer Epic scale, and it's something like, as I said before, Coruscant started with 15mm models, and Fernando, the CEO of the company, has always said, because he remembered when he was young and miss that tiny models. Probably he don't remember how difficult they were to cast. Terrible. Yeah, terrible to cast them. And it's something that appears constantly in our meetings. Infinity in 15mm. Yeah, okay. But it's possible, and it's something we have talked about it sometimes, but maybe as a closed product. I think like we did with Defiance, a closed box, because I'm not really sure about how the market will react to that. If the market is really waiting for something like that or not. So I think it's the kind of product that can be released as a Kickstarter, maybe, or maybe releases as a closed box, thinking in a different kind of player, not exactly the Infinity player, but it's in the probably to-do list, but not an ongoing project right now.
I understand. And main question, can you please tell us how you started your career in Corvus Belli from the beginning until now?
Coming back in time when dinosaurs controls the earth. In 2002 or 3. 2002, yeah. Fernando and Carlos, they were in Corvus Belli. They have that Warcraft Ranchos miniatures. They realized that that need of science fiction game, but so they and realized that they need to have a game to sell more models. But they were only two people working on Corvus Belli, and trying to release a game by themselves was not too much work for them. So at that moment, Alberto Aval, one of the other concept designers, one of the developers of Aristea and Defiance, and me were creating the plot and the script for a science fiction comic book. What's loosely based in our adventures of our group of characters of role-playing games. We have the plot, we have an illustrator, but finally the project was not has no green light. But the idea was there, and Fernando and Carlos remember, hey, you have some ideas, we can use them as a starting point for that science fiction game we would like to do, and that was the beginning of everything. I started as creating the rules, but also making the true profiles, working with the true profiles, and also writing the background of the company. At that moment, I was working in a museum as a guide for the museum. I was the manager of the group of guides of the museum in Vigo. And at some moment, my contract ends, and they offers me, we need more people in the company, in the production area, so you can start working in the production area. And at that moment, in my free time, I have to write the background and write the rules for Infinity. So I started in 2004 working for Corvus Belli and doing like that. I was working in production, casting models until 2009, 2010 I was still working in production and sharing a couple of hours to write and managing the forum at the beginning, social media and playtesting and those. Doing part of that in my free time, because only 2 hours is not enough to do that. And that's how I started with Corvus Belli. And in Corvus, we, as a company, we grow up very, very slow until 2010, 2011. We don't start to make big numbers, but we prefer to grow up slowly, but in a safe way and not risking too much money, and not taking too many risky decisions, because after all, Corvus Belli is our life for us. So we prefer to take it easy. And after all, if someone thinks that miniature games are a good way to make big money, think again. and we realize about that. We are in this business because we like it, not because we like money. So we prefer to keep the company and with a not very big salary, and working in what we like to do. More or less is my the resume of my career and Corvus Belli. And there was a moment in which I need to spend all my time managing things, writing the background, dealing with translators, business matters also, because I'm one of the partners of the company. So there's the moment I stop to work in production area and focus more on Infinity and developing and managing projects like Infinity.
Okay. So as you said before, so you are the main background writer. So many people asking me about did you know the whole storyline of Infinity? For example, as Bostio said before, about Uprising.
Yeah.
So it was planned long before, when it happened to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you know all the storyline, yes, but another question for this one, why you so slowly manage the years of the Infinity? So it's like 2175 year, and now in Uprising it's like 78.
Yeah.
So why so slowly?
Well, maybe you said slowly, but if we move too fast, at the moment the background moves, some of the part of the community say, yeah, that's great, and some people, no, that sucks, because everybody said, oh, Uprising, it was a very interesting maneuver move from Chorus Belli, but most of the usual players said no, that's terrible. The players like change, but not too much, so it's something we have to manage very carefully and balance. Since the release of N3 until N4, I think 5 years have passed in the background story. Is not so slow, because after all N3 was released in 2014, so it's more or less we are very close to the real time. Most of the games are just static in time and don't move anything, and people really don't complain. How let's think about what happens with Warhammer Fantasy or 40k. The lore doesn't move too much. They have their campaigns, they have some events, but if you realize what happens with their universe and how many years have to pass or not, there is no so much, considering that Warhammer has been with us 30 years or more or less. So if you compare with Infinity, we are moving very fast. So as I said, it depends on the point of view. It's interesting for us to make the background moving in time also, but as I said, we have to manage it very carefully. It's not because when you are creating a set, you are investing time, you are investing money in creating a set, so the people know where they can play and they can develop more from themselves, especially now we have a role-playing game, and changing that is okay. So everything we have created for that now has vanished because the time has moved, and they decide to change the background. So it's something we have to manage with very carefully. But we want the Infinity to be an alive game, and also an alive universe, that things happen, and when things happen have their consequences, and the consequences have to be reflected in the game or in the games. It depends how many games are tied with the Infinity universe, as it happening with Aristeia events. After all, the character, when they are moved to Infinity, they reflect what happens in Aristeia. So for us, it's interesting the universe be alive, but as I said, we have to be very careful.
So maybe it's possible in future to have such events like the Dallas Falls and Uprising. Yes, one more. So the main question of all combined armies: will Marats be free from E or not? Because in the background, I think it's in N3, there was a little note that Marats are waiting when E become weaker. So is it possible?
Not in the close future. It's part of the character of the Morats to because they have that kind of behavior. The strongest is the leader, but at the moment the leader is not the strongest. But we can change that. It's part of the character of the Morats, as is something that the background needs to reflect, but the evolved intelligence is too powerful, so at the moment it's very difficult. We could see the Morats moving from the evolved intelligence, or the evolved intelligence allowing Morats to defect from the combined army.
And why you decided to make Onyx contact force instead of and me too, were waiting for Avatar, Harantit, Anathematica to have their own sectorial of big alien robots, which are raping everyone. Why decided to make Onyx instead of it?
Well, from one side, it's a question of realism, considering what the combined army is able to send to the human sphere through that jump gate, through the wormhole, because they don't have a jump gate, and that's one of the problems. It's very difficult for them to send the ships through the wormhole, because half of them disappear in the wormhole. So risking a very high expensive units through that wormhole is not realistic, and they have a contact force. It's very obvious that an empire like the Ur hegemony has some kind of contact force to expand their empire. So at some point, a way to have both a contact force and also an army who has avatars and more Ur units inside. Another question, an army based only in Ur units will be very expensive and very difficult to manage. Okay, when you have an avatar, it's very expensive. Which will be the secondary units? Once again, as happens with the combined army, you will have an army with very expensive units. People really don't like play that kind of armies, especially in competitive play, because high expensive units are not really useful, because you need the orders to fulfill them in the objectives, and so not so easy to manage. So
but you have a good solution in order management with invisible army. So you decided to add some tactical variants, some NCO, lieutenant level 2. Why not decided this with the Ur army?
Because that idea was kept for invincible army, which were really needs for us, for Yuqing, at least from the background point of view. And we prefer to keep that idea for them and not use it on Ur, that supposed Ur army. And also because we have to release a starter pack that can be useful as a generic starter pack, but also useful as a sectorial pack. And we need to reflect that the combined army is combined, composed by different races. So an Ures sectorial starter pack will doesn't feel that fulfill that that need we have. So there were several reasons to do that.
Another question is, you said that it will be manga this year, so it will be like Outrage, or it will be the different style and different way?
The writer will be the same, Victor Santos, because we feel very happy working with him and he likes Infinity Universe, so it's perfect. Unfortunately, Kenny Ruiz, the illustrator of Outrage, was not available for us. Unfortunately for us, and also unfortunately for him, because he's a huge fan of Infinity and also of Aristeia. So we have a new illustrator. The story will be completely different, new characters, new setting. So no ties between both mangas. This time we are not to call it manga. We are going to call it comic book, because it's more easy to access American market. Calling it comic book and not calling it manga. Well, comic book, not graphic novel, because it's more quality. Graphic novel has more quality, and also a graphic novel. Comic book in United States is expected to be colored, while a graphic novel could be in black and white. And as is it manga style, it will be in black and white. But it could be a manga perfectly, but it will be just a matter of the size of the book. So, as I said, new characters, new setting, new story.
Okay, good. And the last question,
Yeah.
and we finish. So, as you said before, from Austria on some of seminars that big box like Red Whale, Operation Ice Storm, they will be completely finished in production. So what about, for example, Wildfire and Cold Front? There is a dual starter for Ariadna and Aleph, but you didn't make little starters.
Yeah.
Perfection. Will we see it or not?
Yeah, with Wildfire, we are going to transform them in two separated boxes, as we're calling them action packs. What is an action pack? An action pack is a box with the models from a faction taken from the battle pack and also from the beyond pack. Yeah, so you will have in one single box seven models from the battle pack and the 3 models from the beyond pack.
So
10
like 10
10 models.
So it will be like Spiral Corps and GSA Sectorial Army.
Not exactly, because it will be a box with only the models and not with a booklet and not with a scenery. Because doing that it's more expensive than we're doing that with Wildfire, with O12 and with Sasbasti. With Coldfront, we probably release as a starter pack.
A simple starter.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was my last question. So maybe you have. Okay.
No more questions?
No more questions. No more 2 questions.
No more 2 questions.
Okay, thank you very much for
No.
your interview. How do you like our Moscow Satellite, and how do you like Moscow weather for today?
No, the Satellite was great. I'm happy to see people playing Infinity. I'm happy to see so nice tables.
And painted armies.
No. This is true. I've been working in the production area of Corpus Belli during a lot of years. So every day I'm seeing the models in plain metal. So when I see a painted model, is whoa, that's great. We have our painted models in a small room at our headquarters, but they are separated, so you don't see it when you are moving through the headquarters. You don't see the painted model. So every time I see a painted model, I say, oh wow, that's great. For me, it's really great to see painted models on the table, and not in plain metal. Yeah. And weather. For me, it's not snowing, so it's great weather.
It's great. Okay, thank you very much. So we're finished our interview. So subscribe on our channel, press like button and ring button. Button. Okay. Все, подписывайтесь на канал, ставьте лайк, жмите на колокольчик. С вами был я, Kisa, and Gutier. Say bye to our subscribers.
Hope to see you on the tables. See you next time. Hope to be here in Moscow or maybe in other city in Russia.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
И хочется сказать спасибо от всего сердца всем тем, кто поддерживает меня на Патреоне, а именно Фидель Пиночетов, Игорь Козлов, Артем Севенред, Анатолий Джокер Коновалов, Алкан Эгейн, Василий Сигват Трейков, Артем Арт Демиденко, Дмитрий Бабин, Влад Кузьмин, Алексей Герыч Гордеев, Влад Призрак Иванов, Петр Джуч Звягинцев, Евгений Мурул Сафронов, Волбер, Тираэль Ворм, Марсель Джакомо Батыршин, Андрей Родя Родионов, Костя Озерный Хенч, Константин Гиллер Поляков, Павел Кузнецов, Никита Райму Нефедов, Дмитрий Крик Архипов и также, конечно же, Его Величество Юрий Дивайн Александров. Спасибо вам огромное!